I'm Issie Deitsch. I'm on the I want to let you know the back history of how I grew up. And I have two brothers. When World War II broke out, in 1941, they both joined up and enlisted. And I was the youngest at home. I was only 15 years of age. And I sat back there and I start to think, if my two brothers could go into service, why can't I? So I waited out for a little while. Then I said, the heck, I'm going to go down and join the Navy. I'm going to go down and join the Navy. So I went down and joined the Navy, and then I had a problem. I filled out all the papers and all that. When it come to the age, I said, oh my God, what am I going to do? I'm only 15 years of age. So I thought of it. I went back and I got my brother's birth certificate. And I took that with me, and I went down to the recruiting station, and I showed them all the papers. Okay, I filled everything out. They accepted me, and then they told me to wait at a hotel, and they'll pick me up at 5 in the morning and bring you down to the station, which we did. So I don't know how this happened. I can't tell you until this very day. My neighbor found out and told my mom, what's your son going to the Navy for? He's only 15 years of age. So she says, where did you hear that? So she went down to the Navy recruiting station and said, I want my son out right now. I'm not leaving this station. Well, now how come you accepted him at that age? So the recruiter, he's only a recruiter. So he went back and talked to the chain of command, the higher rank. And they were gone for a little while, checked it out, and he came back, the higher rank came back and said, ma'am, I'm sorry. Your son is staying in the Navy. He's 18 years of age. He's not 18, he's 15. And I can't understand why you took him. So anyway, he said, we'll check it out. We'll make a background check on him. They were gone for quite a while. And they did come back and found out that I used my brother's birth certificate. So they booted me out. They booted me out. But I don't give up and I don't give in. So I said, the heck, I'm going to go and join the Maritime service. That's the Merchant Marine base in Brooklyn. I went down and joined that. The same thing. You can be 18 or 17 with your parents' consent, and you know darn well my mom will never sign for me. She already had 2 sons overseas. So the same thing. And my mom went down there, like this woman found out again. I don't know how she found out, but she got the message, and they went down and said the same thing. I want my son out of here. And I'm not leaving this station till you get him out. And they were gone for quite a while, like the Navy. Yeah, they did find out that I used my brother's birth certificate, so they booted me out. I struck out twice now. But like I said, I don't give up and don't give in. The only thing that saved me, I joined the union, the Seamen's Union. I went down, I paid my dues, and they signed me up. Within 10 days, I was already assigned to the ship. As you know, I was dating a girl for a couple of years, real nice girl. And I went back to her and I said to her, you know, I'm shipping out in 10 days. So she says, well, let's get married. I said, no, there's no guarantee I'm going to come back. It's wartime. So she started to cry. She started to cry, and I walked up to her and I said, look, everything's going to be okay. So she cried, and I caught her tears, and I took it with me. I said, Rosalie, you'll never be forgotten. I'm taking that with me. I'm going to sail with her. So anyway, we took off. So when we sailed from Baltimore, when I was assigned to that ship, we went from Baltimore to New York to Halifax, Nova Scotia to Reykjavik, Iceland, and we were there for a couple of weeks until they assembled a convoy. And it took them a couple of weeks to do it. And the convoy code name was PQ-17. That's the code name of Convoy PQ-17. They had 35 ships in the convoy, 35 ships. And we sailed. So we went up to I sailed the North Atlantic, the North Sea, the Norwegian Sea, the Barents Sea. And then from Barents Sea, I went to the Baltic Sea, and then the Mediterranean. But before we got there, we got up to the Barents Sea, and the British Naval Headquarters found out that the Germans, they found out the Germans had a lot of ships in the harbor, but they were in the harbor, they weren't out at sea. They had a battle wagon, cruisers, submarines, destroyers, all there, and they had the aircraft in Norway, in the base. So anyway, so they said, we're overpowered. We can't handle this convoy. So they gave orders on July the 4th, 1942, to scatter. We had no escorts whatsoever to protect us. So we were all on our own, That's the 4th. On July the 6th, 1942, I got torpedoed. 1942, I got torpedoed. And we abandoned the ship. We split the crew up in two ships. There were two close by ships by, and we were in the lifeboats for many, many hours. And you don't know what bitter cold is. 48 below zero. The ship was building up with ice. We had to chip and chip and chip, so else, otherwise the ship would capsize. We couldn't do that. So anyway, we finally got that done. So we went from Murmansk. Because Murmansk was getting bombed. So we went to the Archangel, a couple of hundred miles up, and we went to Archangel, and that's where I got hit, towards Archangel. And we were in lifeboats for so long, and cold. Oh my God, ice flows all around. And I don't call them submarines, I call them iron coffins. And they were all painted white to blend in with the ice flows. We couldn't recognize them. And it was cold, foggy, and windy. And boy, let me tell you, it was a blessing after they picked us up. So when they picked us up for several hours in the lifeboat, one of the British naval officers found out I was only 15 years of age. He says to me, "You're a naughty boy. You ought to be back home with your mom, back to school where you belong." So I didn't say nothing to him. I didn't answer him. So, and another thing is, once our ship gets sunk, our pay stops automatically. You don't get paid at all. We got to pay our own way, of our own pockets. Everything's got to be paid by your own. Going back to America, we had to pay our own way. So anyway, that was 1942. In 1943, in the Mediterranean, October, I got hit again. So we were in the lifeboats for many hours until they picked us up and brought us back to Great Britain, and stayed there until we go back home again. So I told the purser to send my money back to my mom, but leave me enough for liberty. So she's getting those checks, and I couldn't figure out where the checks are coming from. So she asked the same neighbor that tattletaled on me, that she says, "Your son is on a ship, and they won't tell him what ship, and they won't tell me where we're at." That's against the law. High secrets. So I guess she was very angry. I don't blame her. But anyway, I'll tell you one thing, that we lost one man. Like I said, we lost one man in the Barents Sea. and he lasted only 1 minute. He froze to death. We all abandoned ship. I don't know what happened to him. He either jumped over or what. We don't know. We never found out. So anyway, when I got back home, my mom was starting to get a little sick, you know. So my brothers were married, and I was a single one. So I took care of my mom for several years. Then I found out about the Lane Victory, and I found out about the Lane Victory. I said, oh, well, I'll have to go down and look at it. So I went down here, and I went to visit it, and then we were at a restaurant one time, and right behind the next booth, my buddy and I said, hey, these guys are talking about ships. Why don't you go talk to them? I said, oh, I don't want to bother. I don't want to interfere with them. He said, go up and talk to them. So I went to talk to him. I said, I'm sorry, I don't want to interrupt you. I heard about you were working on ships. He says, yeah. I says, well, I'm with the American Merchant Marine, China Coasters, the American Merchant Marine. She says, well, why don't you join our ship? I says, okay, I tell you what, where's it at? It's not where it is now. I said, okay, I'll weigh it out. Give me a little time, I'll think about it. Because I was working at the time. And I came down there and looked it up, and that ship was awful. All rust. You never seen a rust ship like this before. So I went down, I looked it up, and one of the, I think it was the president or something, I forgot his name now. Anyway, he said, hey, we can use you. I said, well, I'm working during the week. I can't come down here during the week. She said, why don't you come down on the weekend? We'll give you a room, stay from Friday night to Sunday. I said, okay, let me weigh it out. So I waited about a couple of weeks, and I came down. I came down, and I said, what's my assignment? Chip and paint. Chipping and painting, chipping and painting. And that ship was so rusty. It's unbelievable. I don't know how the heck it made it. So I got interested in it, and ever since I've been with them. And I enjoy every bit of it. I enjoy every bit of it. I like to work on it. It gives me a lot of things to do. And I'm still going to work on it. I'm over 20 years with this ship now. So anyway, I don't know how long it's going to last, but I enjoy the Lane Victory very much. I hope, don't forget, we're hurting for financial stuff. This needs new boilers, it needs painting, the lifeboats needs repairs, because the Coast Guard will never let us out until all this is repaired. And we got to go to dry dock, and we need lots of money. We need a couple of $1 million, maybe more. The more you wait, the more it's going to cost. And we can't get grants, we can't get donations, and we're trying very hard to keep the ship going.
How old are you? How old are you, Issie?
I'm 91 and a half right now.
And you're still going strong.
But you know what?
What?
I consider myself a 39, and I'm still holding. I'm not going on before 39.
Well, it's been an honor talking.
I got to do something. I can't sit around doing nothing. And this is a ship that keeps me going.